as like a solo business owner, you don't really think about how isolating it can be being a solopreneur, and then how much time you're devoting to your business and how little time you devote to yourself. Your quality of life is so much more important than your quantity of work. Welcome back to the Films We Make podcast. Today's episode, me and Elijah are going to talk about something that's pretty near and dear to us, and that is your overall health, not only in your business, but also for yourself. And there's so many benefits to not only taking care of yourself, because those two kind of go hand in hand. When you're taking care of yourself, your business can thrive. And being a solopreneur, it comes with a lot of perks and a lot of challenges. And so, it's one of those double-edged swords, having complete control over your time and having to find the discipline in navigating that freedom. And so generally we often get so caught up in the motions and the routine of just trying to focus on business that we oftentimes forget to take care of ourselves. And there's a lot of downsides to that. And so we want to just have a candid conversation today about some of the things that we do to take care of ourselves when we're just not, feeling our best, or, we have a little bit of extra time, and just the routine that we've found to be really beneficial, so that we can thrive and that our business can thrive as well. So it's going to be a great conversation. So I hope you stick around till the very end. And without further ado, let's jump into this week's episode. So Elijah, when it comes to health, I know that this is just an off-topic story, but there was like a couple years ago, there was a challenge kind of going around about, I challenge you to do like 10 push-ups or 15 push-ups or however many it was. And I remember doing those push-ups, and then I was like, who can I challenge? I was like, oh, I'll challenge Elijah. And I shouldn't have done this, because just for everyone listening, this guy over here, I sent him the challenge, and I'm over here struggling to do 15 push-ups. I'm really bad and out of shape here. But I send the challenge to this guy, and he's over here doing one-arm push-ups like it's just easy.
I don't even remember.
Like, it's not even hard, man. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, you're going to challenge me? Okay, watch this. You don't remember that?
I do not remember that at all.
Oh,
that is
gosh.
like, it's one of those, I'm sure I sent you a video, so I guarantee you, like, I could go find it somewhere in my photos on, backed up somewhere. But, dude, I do not remember that.
It's seared into my brain, because it was at that moment I knew that I had some work to do on myself.
Whatever happened to the ice? Was it ice bucket challenge?
I remember the ice bucket challenge that was going around like crazy. I know my sister actually did that, and I appreciate the challenges. Like, it's like, hey, it's a way for us to get moving and to just kind of get in shape for the year and do things out of our comfort zone. And I never did the ice bucket challenge, but one thing I have been doing, and I think we've talked about this a lot off the podcast, is cold plunging.
Dude, it's where it's at, man. It is so good.
So I just started doing this, but you've been doing it for a while, right?
I mean, not too much longer than you, probably 6 months. Yeah. But it's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it, and you can, talk at length and for those. I mean, there's other podcasts that go in deep on what, the benefits of cold plunging. I'm not going to sit here and try to make stuff up, because I could probably repeat back some of the things that I've heard. But this isn't one of those podcasts where I'm going to just throw out these random statistics and make stuff up for views.
Right,
or maybe I should. I don't know. But yeah, it's awesome. I love it. And I like doing it directly after a wedding if I can. But the problem is I'm traveling so much lately that you can't go back to your Airbnb or hotel and cold plunge. I don't think I've ever seen a hotel with a cold plunge in it. Gyms, yes, higher end gyms, but I hope it gets more popular, because I think it's amazing. It's like the perfect way to start your day, or before a workout, or after a wedding, or after a shoot. I don't know. You've been doing it a little bit now, so what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a kind of a slow go with it, right? I mean, I bought like little cheap ice pod inflatable thing on Amazon. And one of the things I didn't realize that I would have to do is obviously go out and buy ice every day, because it doesn't have one of those active cooling features and all the fancy things that you need to get it down to the right temperature. So that was a little trial and error for me. The first time I did it, it was like 70 degrees. I mean, it was like a bath. I was like, okay,
you're getting.
I mean, it felt nice.
Cold.
I'm like, hey, I could do this. This is great. 70 degrees? Sure, I can do this. But then the next day I got it down to 60, and that was a little bit, more of a learning experience there. And then I got it down to 50. Yesterday I got it down to the coldest I had. And it was like, in like the low 50s. And I mean, that was nice. They recommend, if you're going to do it, anywhere between 30 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. That's where you're going to see like the benefits of it. And like 3 minutes a day, I will say, I mean, after like I started getting it cold enough, and I was doing it for like 3 minutes, like it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you don't want to get into ice cold water. I mean, like there's just like, you just don't want to do that. When you start your day, you want something nice and warm, and it's like you just don't want to jump into frigid water. But I have been doing it for a lot of the mental health benefits, but also for like muscle recovery, because I'm also doing a lot more working out. Since I'm back to working, weddings full time, I have a lot more time on my hands. I want to be taking care of myself in that way. And so I also need a way to kind of recover my muscles and not be in so much pain. And so, yeah, I feel like it is helping in that regard. I do feel great. I mean, it's like a huge dopamine rush as soon as you get out, and like you're just like, ooh, that was amazing. Like I feel great. I feel just like I could take on the world.
You don't need coffee. You don't need anything.
You're good to go. It's crazy, just like the impact it's had on just a couple days of doing it. And so, yeah, I mean, if anyone's like has seen this on the internet, I'm sure you have. It's it's starting to become like a craze, I would say. It's kind of these things do. And but yeah, I mean, if you're a solopreneur and you're someone who is, you need to get out of whatever funk you're in, I feel like this is a good opportunity to just like do something outside of your comfort zone, insanely out of your comfort zone. I mean, what's more out of your comfort zone than jumping into ice cold water? I mean, your body's just you don't want to do that. But by doing it, it's just like you're kind of building like resilience, and you're also like building some discipline, which are good traits to have.
I mean, and also when you get in freezing cold water, you cannot think about all the other things you got going on that are, you could be stressed out or whatever, but as soon as you get in cold water, you can't think of anything else besides the fact that this sucks so bad. I mean, I could talk about that all day long. I love it. But, I mean, that's just one of the things that I think that, and not everyone is able to, start cold plunging every day or even do it regularly at all. But there's so many other things that when it comes to just health in general. I think this is one thing that really gets talked about in the wedding industry, which is weird, because even if you're a planner or a florist, anything, like I don't know if anyone really, trying to think, I guess cakes or something, but like even then you're probably like on your feet a lot, like it is taxing on your body, and people think that it's just kind of easy, but they've never really shot a wedding day. I'm like, right. Someone was telling me that I had like an easy job, and in a lot of ways I do think that we have a great job, but in other ways, like you've never shot a 12-hour wedding day, never driven somewhere, shot all day long, drove home. It's taxing, and every wedding professional knows it. That's why there's always these memes and videos of people like, going into before a wedding looking amazing and feeling good, and then just like dragging themselves in the door on the way back in, all disheveled and stuff. So everyone knows what it's like to, feel that. And I have a good friend who's, photographer. They lost a ton of weight and they felt so much better. And they were telling me, like, I remember when we would shoot like an 8-hour wedding day, then like on a Saturday, Sunday, they're like, we could not get out of bed. It was just like dragging on the couch all day, watching TV. And I'm like, I really never felt that bad, right? But I know what that feeling is, and I'm like, I can't imagine just being super out of shape, not taking care of yourself, and then the longevity of being in the wedding industry in general. Like, do you like doing this? I love doing it, but like it'd be so hard to do this for a long time if you don't take care of yourself. And that's in general, period. Like, it's not really even about being like super good shape or like looking a certain way. It's just like in general, I think Americans don't take great care of themselves anyways. And that's not like just Americans in general. I think Europeans are kind of the same, but they walk everywhere, so they have like a better opportunity to lose weight, to be on their feet a lot more and stuff like that. So yeah, it's interesting that this topic gets overlooked, because we always talk about gear, LUTS, how we can get better business, blah blah blah. And I don't think this topic gets talked about enough, for sure.
No, it definitely doesn't. And, case in point, when I started full time in 2016, I wasn't thinking about, my overall health. I was really just thinking about the success and the health of my business, but like the two go hand in hand. And I think if we just make wellness just a part of our regular routine, and we get on some kind of routine, both in our, exercise and health regimens, and then our business procedures and processes, you're going to notice that just like you're going to have longevity in this industry and business in of itself, because you're disciplined and you're practicing that discipline, because day-to-day tasks constantly change for an entrepreneur. And so if you don't have the plan, you don't have a structure, and you're just kind of going with the flow, it can get out of hand quick. I mean, case in point, 2017 to 2020, and especially when COVID hit, I think a lot of people can attest to this. I gained a lot of weight, and, I wasn't doing anything, right? We weren't even filming weddings. A few, but not enough to really get in the steps that I needed. But also too, I just wasn't eating right. We were doing takeout almost every other day, spent a disgusting amount of money on takeout. And I gained, the most weight I've ever.
You're helping the economy, Jared. You're helping
gained.
The economy.
I was helping the economy, but I was also hurting my my internal economy. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. But man, I gained like 30 pounds. I was at 200 actually. And like, if you go back to some of my earlier YouTube videos, you can see it in my face. Just like, you could tell that I was, if you're not really looking, or you haven't seen me in person, obviously you're not going to be able to tell, but you can tell the difference between like then and now. And yeah, I knew that I was just like, dude, something's got to change, because like, yes, you're a wedding videographer, but you're also like a video editor too. And so you're also sitting down a lot. And if you're sitting down for 8 hours a day, you're practically killing yourself. If you're not moving, you're not getting any exercise. And that's one thing I've found is like, it's so important to just take like 20 minutes every hour, like just to get up, stretch, buy a standing desk. Whatever that looks like. If you have to be at your computer, yeah, buy a standing desk. That way you can at least be standing. You can be in motion while working. I love standing desks. They are the best. It's something that I just made a habit of, just constantly standing at my desk opposed from sitting. And when you're in your early 20s, you really don't think about this stuff. And your parents will, they'll always tell you, oh, make sure you eat good, when you're younger, because when you're older, it's going to come back. It's going to come back and bite you. And my dogs are going crazy right now. But your parents do tell you that.
You're telling them to eat healthy. That's why.
Yeah, and they don't like that. But it's so true. It's one of those things where you just don't think about it until you're, hunched over after a 12-hour wedding shoot, and you're just like, I feel like I'm dying. Granted,
even the strongest of us are like, give me some ibuprofen after 12 hours on our feet. Like,
right.
We're not meant to stand that long. Like, I get that, but there's a difference between being like, I'm pretty tired, and like, I can't move for the next 2 days.
Right. And I mean, that's one thing that I noticed when I was like overweight. I just wasn't eating right. I was just so tired all the time. My clarity, my focus was just, it was just not there. I knew that if I wanted to succeed in business and I wanted to grow and do the things that I'm passionate about, I had to make a change. I had to get moving and I had to start eating right. And I had to make it wellness a part of my regular routine. And I think that's just something that we all should be striving towards as solopreneurs.
One thing, like I'm one of those people that examples make a better impact on me than just telling me, for sure. But I mean, I think a lot of people are, but and honestly, the health thing really hasn't been as much of a struggle for me because I did a sport all my life and then just kind of stuck with that same trajectory of sticking with health and stuff. But I was the last house I lived at, my UPS guy, dude, he was beast. He was like ripped out and he'd run everywhere. He'd drop the box off and run away. And like he wasn't like a bodybuilder or anything, but he was just like, you could tell he was like ripped out and he was hustling. And this guy was like, I mean, he's probably mid 50s, yeah. And there was a couple times I stopped and talked to him and then we became friends. His name was Max, super legit guy. And I'd see him at the gym like after he was done. So I'd go to the gym and I'd see him there. And I was like, bro, how long did you work today? He's like, like 10 hours. And I'm like, this guy's essentially doing like a wedding day every day, and he's just running. Right. And I was like, dude, you've got to be burning enough calories to not have to do that. And he's like, yeah, but like if I want to do this till I'm 60, and I've been doing this for a long time. He's like, I got to be able to keep my my body up and my shape up and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that makes total sense to me. Like, why do we do this to ourselves? Like most Americans are like super overweight, like they can't make it to a certain age. And I look at some guy like that and I'm like, I bet you most Americans could look like that and do that at 60 years old. We've kind of just accepted the fact that like, oh, we can't do a certain job for a certain amount of time because like our bodies can't handle it. I'm like, I think our bodies can, but we just don't take care of them. And then like at a certain point, it's too late. And you're like, well, dude, that's going to be hard to get your body back to something like that. But my point is like, he's working 10-hour days, then going and working out. Obviously, like he's got no kids in the house and stuff at that point. Right. But, just hustling, running around, 55 years old, doing UPS. And I'm like, I guarantee this guy could do UPS till 65. He'd probably be in his 70s and be like, jogging around, no problem. And at that point, we always just assume like, oh, we got to put them in a place where they can't walk up the stairs, So it's wild. But that was an awesome example for me because I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, this job can be taxing sometimes, and our job's weird too because like you said, we sit down for 8 hours a day, and then like on a weekend, you're like, oh, I'm gonna stand up for 12 hours now. Right. That's super hard. If you're just sitting down all week and then you get to the weekend and you got to shoot 12 hours or, whatever it is, 10 hours, 8 hours, that's a long time. And your body's not used to it. So getting up, moving, doing all kinds of stuff, it's 100% necessary. You watch a lot of these podcasts, right? And they'll say like, invest in yourself. I'm a person that doesn't like when you just say blanket statements like that. I'm like, well, give me some practical steps. Like, where's a practical step? Like, that's something to do. Invest in yourself is like, go work out, go work on your mental health, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's actually doing something because you realize you're not like when you get done with a workout, you come and you work really hard on your videos for a certain amount of time. Go take a break, walk outside, 20 minutes. These are like practical steps that help because all of a sudden you're flying through your wedding films instead of sitting there for like 20 minutes trying to get some creativity and then scrolling through Instagram, stopping again, scrolling through Instagram again. I'm like, go do a cold plunge, go run outside, go walk. You'll get more done doing that than coming back and working intensely for like 45 minutes or an hour or whatever than if you're not doing any of those things. So to me, that's a great way to invest in yourself because you actually get stuff done better. And it makes sense to me. Like that's actually helping you too, not just you getting work done.
Yeah. And I think too, we are kind of slaves to convenience. I mean, that's just the,
Mm-hmm.
American population. I mean, the world in general. I mean, convenience is just ever evolving and growing just because technology is growing and evolving, and it's like we just get so comfortable, and it's hard when you get so comfortable with something. You don't want to be uncomfortable, but you have to be uncomfortable to grow. You have to just do things that are just really hard, and you have to choose your hard, and you have to look at really, why am I doing this? What's the end goal here? Like if you're sitting in front of your computer or you've been on social media for 5 hours and you're just like overstimulated. I'm someone who gets overstimulated a lot because there's just so much information and there's so much just content out there nowadays. It's just like I have to reset. Cold plunges.
Well, everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does. It's not just you.
And cold plunges help me do that. It helps me just like, hey, if I'm overstimulated, all right, boom, I'm going to jump in some ice cold water, or I'm going outside to just be out in nature. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to like drive, just drive down the road, listen to music or something that's just like away from the noise. And it's the same thing, if you're like someone who has kids and you're a wedding professional, if you're someone who doesn't even have kids, if you're just, getting into, entrepreneurship in general. I mean, all of these things, these practical steps that we're talking about can be so beneficial. And, it's not always going to work for the same thing that works for someone doesn't always work for another person. Like if you're someone who just you can't do cold plunges, that's fine. You can find other ways to exercise your mind and exercise your body. And one of the things that I've had to learn is just time management. Because we are so distracted. We're a culture of distraction. And I mean, especially in 2023, and it's going to get worse and worse. And if we don't learn how to time manage, if we don't learn that discipline now, it's going to be so hard later on. And just like to just break out of this, this detrimental routine of just constant overstimulation, depression, anxiety that comes with that. ADHD, which I struggle with that, just like being able to sit down and focus for long periods of time. And it's just like, if there's just so many ways that we can just break the cycle and break that now, so that our future selves can look back and say, wow, I've really like grown in my business this year. Like instead of looking back and thinking, what have I done? Like, I've been a victim of that for years, where I just like look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I spent like 10 hours a day on the computer or on social media or on YouTube or watching Netflix, when I could have been reading. I could have been doing something that's going to, exercise my mind and exercise my body and be in a much better physical shape and creative shape than just like sitting around and, just wasting away almost. And so it's just something to really consider if you're in a space right now where, hey, maybe you're feeling burnt out. Maybe you're feeling like this is just not for you anymore, or just like your passion's kind of fading, the fire's kind of fading away. I think it really just is something to look at where you need a reset. You need something that can get you in a better routine, a better mindset. And I think time management can just do wonders in your business if you focus on that.
Here's a practical step that helps me is I will set a timer for like 45 minutes. If I have maybe I'm feeling a little more focused, I'll set it for longer. And when the timer goes off, no matter what I'm doing, I will stop and go downstairs or go walk around outside or just take a 10-minute break. And then I'll set another timer for 10 minutes. And when that goes off, I'm going to go right back to work. But it's a way for my brain to just stop. And then when I start, I can refocus again. And also, I think there's something about the fact that I see a timer going and like my brain is able to be like, okay, you got to get as much as you can get done in this time period. Yeah. And then when it goes off, I'm like, okay, done. And I'll restart. And so if I'm working for 5 hours, I end up doing that 5 times. However that may be. You could be, honestly, if you have really bad ADHD, it might be like set for like 20 minutes working, then like 3 minutes off, 20 minutes working, 3 minutes off. But you get better and better at it, and you might be able to do like 55 minutes, 5 minutes break. Reminds me of that that office thing where Michael's like, or Toby's going through the safety training and he starts take a break every like 5 minutes. And then Michael's like, wow, that time really adds up. It's like half an hour every hour. But yeah, I mean, like funny that is, like, it actually does help a lot to just stop. And I have stairs right here, and I'll run up and down them like 3 times. And there's something about just the movement in your brain, just like blood flowing, that helps you think better. And yeah, so I think, yeah, you can go to the gym every day. That's good. But like even throughout the day, it's like stop. And that 5 minutes could be like stretching for like 5 minutes, like not anything related to work. Could be like 100 push-ups. I mean, if you can do that, it might be 10 push-ups. It might be like 50 squats or something like that. And then just stop, take a break, not think about anything else, not social media at that time, and then go back to work. Set that timer, let it go, and keep going again. So, I mean, that works for me, but that is helpful knowing like you should be doing something like that throughout the day instead of just like a one time, I'm going to see how much work can get done, then go to the gym, which is obviously, I'm not saying that's bad. That's great. But I think throughout the day is better. Not better, but like, something else you can do on top of going to the gym or working out at home or something.
Yeah. And there's 2 things that I've heard recently is like, protect your sleep and then also protect your mind. So like really your sleep is so important. And I've been making it a mission to just like, I'm in bed by like 9:30. Like I'm not staying up like super late. I'm trying to get in bed early just so I can get like a full 8 hours of rest. And I'm up usually by like 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning. And then like also how you start your day really does matter. So like if you're the first thing you're doing in the morning and you're rolling over and you're like scrolling on social media, that's going to affect the rest of your day. Like, I mean, it really does have such a massive impact. I've done like a week where I was like, all right, I'm just going to see like what the difference is. I wake up and then, hey, okay, I'm drinking morning coffee. I'm scrolling on Instagram. And then versus no, instead of waking up and going right to Instagram, I wake up, I drink some lemon water, and then I just go outside and get in the sunshine and just like walk around for a little bit. And doing that opposed to waking up and scrolling, it's just like, it's like a night and day difference. And so I've gotten to this routine now where like when I wake up, I drink my lemon water, I get like some workout clothes on, I go straight to the gym. And that's just like my Monday through Friday. There's like some days where I'll give myself some grace where like if I wake up, I'm like, okay, my body needs the rest. I need to just like not work out too hard today or not really do any like muscle building or anything like that. Maybe I'll just go on some walks throughout the day. And so there are some like grace periods, and it's important to give yourself that grace because, we're not perfect. We can't, we can't always be, in the mode and in the mood too. I mean, you're not going to want to do these things, especially starting out. It's going to be so hard to like set that, routine and build that discipline. And I mean, the thing is with me, it's like, I have to force myself. When I like wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I do not want to go work out right now. And I will have this internal battle with myself where I just have to force myself. I have to just like stand up, walk out the door and just go. Like, I mean, it's literally like someone's trying to force me back into the house. Like it just feels like a force field of someone's like pushing me. And, I think if we just set those healthy habits and we do it, they say like 21 days, it takes 21 days to form a habit.
It gets easier.
That's right. And that's the thing. It's like if we keep doing this and we force ourselves, we get into that routine and we see just like the benefits that come with that. Because I feel like too, we are like we want that instant gratification. We want to just see the results. Like we want to eat the salad and have a 6-pack. We want to, work out once and have like washboard abs and super ripped muscles. And it's not reality. It takes routine, it takes discipline, and to build that that stamina and resilience, and yeah, it gets easier, like Elijah said.
One thing too is what helps me is like someone said time's gonna pass anyway, and I'm like, dude, that's the truth. Like you could either like it's gonna like you can't like stop it from happening, so you could waste the time or you could just do it. Like there's only 2 options. So It's just like, that's the truth. And like, when you think about like how long it may take you to get to a certain point, you're just like, well, it's going to pass anyway. So might as well just do it now. Like, just do it or not do it. But like, obviously one's a better option.
That's something too that I've like really come to realize is like, at the end of the day, when I look back at my day, I would rather look back and feel proud and productive about what I accomplished, even if it was like, hey, I worked for 4 hours today, but I got a ton done, or I worked for 2 hours today and I got a lot done. I would rather look back on, even if it was like I worked for 2 hours today, but within those 2 hours, it was like the best work I've ever done. Like I was in such a good creative flow state, like opposed from just like spending 8 hours where maybe 4 hours of that time you're like time wasting on like social media or YouTube. And it's really the quality of work that you can get done within a limited time window versus like just the quantity of work that you get done within 8 hours. And it's one of those things where I've just like, that's why I can't stand a 9 to 5. I feel like there's so much time wasted within that like 9 to 5 area where I feel like for some people, you're only like really productive for like 3-4 hours. And for me, that's in the morning when lunchtime hits and then past, I'm like, okay, I'm like on to the next thing. Like I'm like, okay, it's afternoon. I need to like do my like household chores, or I need to do something else. I can't sit in front of this screen all day and like, kill my eyes and hurt my back and all those things. And so, yeah, I mean, I just think, like you said, it's one of those things where time's going to just float on by anyway. So make it good quality time, for yourself and your business.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny that you say that, because like I went to, my friend asked me if I wanted to go to shoot with him. And we were doing this shoot yesterday. And so we were talking about this stuff, like not specifically health stuff, but talking about just work in general. And I'm like, man, I feel like there are times that I can, like, everyone knows what it feels like to just fly through work, right? 3 hours and you're like, dude, I am killing it right now. Mm-hmm. And there are times that you're like, I've sat here for 8 hours and wasted so much time. So that's, I 100% agree with the 9 to 5 thing. It's weird because I think there's so much time wasted that you just are like, well, your boss is like, well, you can't leave because you just can't leave. Like, well, I got nothing to do and I've already finished my work, right? And that's the great thing about being an entrepreneur and running your own business is like, I just need to get the work done. So now it's up to me to get it done. And if I get it done in 3 hours, great. If I get it done and it takes me 15, that's on me somehow, right? Like, whether I'm like I was bored on social media or just wasting time. So all these things we're talking about, like, dude, that's why I say, like, if you're investing in yourself in this regard, it's funny because you can actually save time. You're going to the gym and you're like, well, I don't have time for that because I got work to do. Well, you might spend an hour at the gym. I mean, altogether, maybe you're doing it quicker, or you work out at home or something, right? But you take 5 minutes to break and you focus, all of a sudden, like, you're getting stuff done twice as fast. You had 8 hours of work to do. Now you finished your gym workout, took breaks, and you got like all your stuff done in 4 or 5 hours. And everyone knows what that's like, because you can, like, when you're just flying through stuff. That's what's crazy to me, is like, now you don't need to worry about like, oh, I worked for 80 hours this week. And that always made no sense to me either in a 9 to 5.
Yeah, your quality of life is so much more important than your quantity of work. We have, as entrepreneurs, we are everything. We wear so many different hats. I mean, we're marketers, we're filmmakers, we're video editors, we are, HR, we're like payroll, we're everything. We're
our own HR. You're fired, Jared.
You're fired. I mean, my boss is a jerk, man. He's just like, he's really been riding me this week. It's like, he wants me to get it done.
He's making me get in the cold plunge and I don't want to.
He's awful. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, your quality of life is so much more important than your quantity of work. And, something that I've had to really learn is that, I can't get everything done in a day that I want to get done. And I have to give myself that grace and be okay with that. At the end of the day, it's like you have to just like forgive yourself and be okay with the fact that, okay, I didn't get to my website today, but I served my clients well today, right? I didn't get to posting that second reel on Instagram and TikTok, or making short form content to grow my following, and that's okay, but I served my clients today. It's like, as long as it's like the quality of work and the quality of life is fulfilling you, then I find that that's a success at the end of the day. And for me, what comes along with that quality of life is by setting these healthy habits, by eating right, by exercising, by doing all the things outside of your business first and making that priority, because then all of the other things that come along with, thriving and success and growing and getting better at your craft, all of that is, because of all the things that you're doing to better yourself first.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, and like this podcast should be wrapping up here in a second, but I do think like, even like when it comes to eating healthy, right? Jared, all he eats is he just drinks coconut water all day long. He doesn't even eat.
That's all you need.
No, but this is like the Kelly Kapoor diet. Yeah, I think like even you're saying like there are times that like say you go to lunch and you're like, okay, I ate pasta, some French bread, and then I had cheesecake, like bites or whatever.
Sounds great.
Lunch.
I mean, I'm there.
Amazing. But I'm like, okay, well, of course you're going to feel like junk in the afternoon. Like, no way you're going to get anything done. And granted, everyone gets tired in the afternoon. Even if you eat right, like you're going to get a little bit tired, right? But I like to work out in the afternoon because like it's my coffee. It's my way of, everyone starts getting tired. In the morning, it's easy. And I intermittent fast most days. So like it's easy for me to get stuff done in the morning, but then afternoon I start, after I eat, I start getting a little bit tired, but then I go work out and I'm good. But yeah, I mean, even eating comes into play, like I can't imagine eating that for lunch and then trying to get any sort of work done, dude, from whatever time that is, like 1 p.m. to 6, you're done.
Oh, you're done.
Your body's like, go to sleep now.
Yeah. When I was doing takeout, like every other day, I felt so gross. And every time I would eat like lunch, after I would eat lunch, I'm like, there's no shot that I'm going to sit down and edit like for 6 hours. Like I can't even see 2 feet in front of me right now. I feel like I'm going to pass out if I even try to get up. I'm like a grease ball. Just like I just devoured a whole extra large pizza with extra pepperoni and mushroom and bacon. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I just a pile of grease right now. Like if I even
just like imagining you like Ben Stiller at the end of Dodgeball. Just on the couch.
Yeah. They could draw blood and it'd be nothing but bacon grease just like coming out of me. It's just like, dude, it's so important to eat right because it does affect your clarity, your focus, your mood, just like your energy levels, everything. I mean, what we feed ourselves and our body matters. And I've learned that just over the years of just diving deep into health and wellness. And I've actually, I intermittent fast too. So usually I don't even eat until like 12 or 1. And what I do consume, I'm kind of like a carnivore keto diet. I've been on that for like a few months now, and that's been amazing. So mostly like, it's like chicken, red meat.
You're going to
fish.
upset a vegan listening.
Yeah, chicken, red meat, fish, sorry. But also fruits, so like pineapple, apples, like blackberries, grapes, bananas. I'll have like a banana shake at the end of every day with like it's like the best thing. I get so excited at the end of the day now because I'm like, yes, my banana milkshake, dude. That's
banana shake time.
I have a sweet tooth, and like I used to eat ice cream like it was just going out of style, and it's just like just so many healthier ways to get sugar and to satisfy those cravings. And so yeah, I mean, it's really worked well for me. I mean, I went from like 205 down to 165, and like that's like my high school weight. And so I've just been killing it with that. And so important to build those healthy habits. Start like switching up your routine. If you are just feeling like you're in a rut right now, you're just like something's got to change just for yourself, for your health, for the longevity of your business. setting those healthy habits, eating right, just switching things up this year, especially when, we don't have as much work going on right now. I mean, since the industry is in just like a little bit of a decline, right? We don't have as many weddings. So it's like, it's a better time than ever to, focus on our health and wellness so that we can thrive for the seasons moving forward.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I think this is something that needs to be talked about more, but the general industry is it's not really focused on this. We're focused on business, how to grow it, how to get more clients, which is they're all good things, right? But these little things that we change in our daily lives will help with all of those things, with better mental clarity, physical fitness, all of it, to be able to better serve our clients, because that's obviously the end goal of what this podcast should be about. And actually, it's funny that like when we first started this podcast, Jared said, "Here's our intro," and it said something about a dad bod, and I was like, "Take that out. We're gonna break the status quo. We're not gonna be the guys with talking about the dad bod, right? Because that's the American way, right? We say dad bod, and I was like, no, I want to break that because I don't play that game.
And we can change. We should change the way that society looks at dad bods, right? We should take a picture of ourselves or something and say, this is the new dad bod. Let's get a trend going. Can we get a trend going of like the new dad bod for 2023?
Yeah, you can do that. I'm not going to do it. But if someone's listening out there and they're more confident to be able to do that, then yeah, go for it. You start it.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it has been helpful and valuable in some way. Like Elijah said, we just find that these little things that we change in our routine to, help ourselves to, get in good physical condition and also mental shape is just so important, because it compounds in how our business, thrives and grows as well. So we appreciate you guys listening to this week's episode. If you liked this episode, we'd love to have you over on our review pages on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave us a review over there, like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And until next time, we'll see you.